it's a fascinating world, you know. I mean, because as you said, there's tons of stuff out there, you know.
Yeah, it's an overload. Eh?
Right.
Now, would you also say you also mentioned that you focus a lot on the business side of things as well, how to
Mm-hmm.
run music as a business? Could you, because you know Europe, how Europe works on the musician side, do you see a big difference between how does a musician survive in because we're all about business models and where are we going in the future and what's going to happen, and the fact that music is not owned anymore, it's streamed.
Right.
How do you see that on the
Well,
skills level, what is important?
well, I think these days having some sort of business knowledge and or business model is crucial. And again, not necessarily means to be you know, having a you know, master of business administration, right? But at least having entrepreneurial skills, it's absolutely crucial. I mean, and this is true for musicians, but it's true for pretty much any other creative job out there. You need to have well, first thing, I think a good people skills. I think that's always very, very important. You know, there's no substitute for that. But also you need to have the vision and the entrepreneurial skills to put your art and your craft at the service of clients, right? Or people that want to have something from you that you can provide. So I think that component is probably even is getting more and more important. I mean, and I think that's one of the main difference maybe I've seen in general between some European areas and the US. Here, the entrepreneurial spirit and entrepreneurial attitude is, you know, it's pretty strong even among younger musicians, especially now. I mean, where, you know, with the pandemic, you know, all the business models are changing, and I see that the ones that are really successful are the ones that again think, how do I adapt quickly, right? So how do I now make my business models? It could be, you know, providing, you know, recording sessions for other composers, or you know, co-writing music for, or writing music for a TV show, for a film. So all these things need to be crafted in your model. So it used to be that I could just, you know, be very good at playing one instrument, and then, you know, kind of just go around the neighborhood, like in New York, and meet people, and I would get tons of gigs, right? But now that neighbor now became the world. So it's a way bigger area, and all the techniques for networking are totally different, right? And they keep changing constantly. You know, different platforms. You know, used to be Facebook, now is TikTok and Instagram, and, you know, every other, you know, every few months there's a new platform. So you need to adapt, you need to go after that, and you need, as you said, you need to be careful to choose the correct ones for what you want to do. So that to me is definitely one of the more challenging parts in general for younger musicians or younger artists, because it takes time to be good at this, research the platform, be good at it, and really use them to make an impact on your career. So and the problem is that you need to do that while, of course, acquiring and having great skills as a creative person, right? Because I mean, you could have all these great entrepreneurship ideas, but if you're not good at what you do,
It makes
you
no
know,
sense.
that
Do you
makes no sense.
Yeah. Do you see that I call it a little bit creating your own skills, making sure that you showcase what you can do? How do you see collaborations in there? Do you see that people who really collaborate together, is that an advantage? Or because
Absolutely.
I have 10 musicians who call me every day during the pandemic. Oh, I want to teach online. I want to do this. Can you tell me what tools should I use or shouldn't I use? And then I think like, yeah, okay, but there's so many initiatives out there. How are you gonna float on top, that people
Right.
will discover you.
Yeah, I think collaborations are absolutely essential these days. I mean, that's how you expand your network. That's how you meet new people. This is how you learn new techniques. That's the basic of expanding your horizon, right? As a entrepreneur. So absolutely, collaboration are absolutely crucial. I think. In fact, what I always recommend my students is to first thing to do is to start a team. And first thing, the team gives you morale boost, right? Because I mean,
Yeah.
if somebody is always in their basement writing great music, doing great paintings, but nobody gives feedbacks or nobody is aware of it, that's not a great model. And so having people that you collaborate with, where maybe you all co-write a song every week, or you shoot a short movie every week, anything that involves other people gives you a boost in terms of like, okay, I'm going the right direction. There's other people on this with me, but also it gives an impression of a way better organization, right? So if I have to go and propose my service as a producer, music producer, and I talk to somebody, say, hey, I'm a great producer. I think this is the best thing you can ever have. I mean, of course, what am I going to say? That I'm not a good producer, right? But having a team where maybe I have a person that is dedicated to outreach and marketing, and say, hey, I represent this new production team. We're team of young producer, young musicians, and we've done this and this and this, and so it's just the way you present it. It's just way more appealing, right? And again, it's just an energy that you wouldn't get working on by yourself. So I think I always recommend doing all many different things at the same time, right? So having your own company, but also do your freelance work. Teach a little bit, having your name going around in very different areas, very different. When before the pandemic, play out with your band, right? Maybe do an album, your solo album or your band album. So having all these venues where your name circles, I think is crucial. And going back to your point about collaboration, that's super important. Having your name going around in different circles, different people. Somebody heard your album on Spotify, goes to your website, suddenly say, oh wow, he's also doing music with his music production company. Oh, I have a friend that needs some music. That having your name going around, it's crucial in different areas. I mean, that's why, and it's also rewarding, I think, for the individual, right? I mean, what I love about what I do is that as you mentioned, I wrote some books and I love writing, but I have tons of YouTube tutorials that have good reviews, and I love doing those. But then I teach at Berkeley, I do the administrative thing there, I play. So having all these things make my career very exciting. And at the same time, it's a little bit like winning the lottery, right? You buy as many tickets as you can, and as much as you can, you try to have all these different things going on. And then, if you're a young professional, eventually maybe two or three of those things will get more traction, and then that's why you kind of channel your career. But having that, to me, that flexibility and diversity of things that you can do, in my opinion, is crucial, because as we are seeing right now, right, we're witnessing how quickly the whole business can change, right? I mean, in few months, just the whole thing just changed. And one thing that I would always recommend any young professional is that they really want to have whatever they do to be like a lifelong career, right? It's a sustainable career. So there's no doubt that in the span of 20, 30, 40, 50 years, things are going to change. Not only externally, but also in your life, right? Things change. You have a family, you move, you
Yeah.
have different interests, right? And
No one tours every day of his life till the end of
right,
life.
exactly. And so having that flexibility, both in your skills, in the way you interact with people, the way you, as you said, you collaborate with people, and also in your kind of business model, I think it's crucial. And to me, it goes back to that, seeing what the next wave is going to be. And the next wave could be something that changes in the industry, something that changes in the environment, but also something that changes in your life, right? So kind of keep an eye, what's going on? I want to maybe move to do something slightly different. Totally cool.
Yeah.
Just make sure you have the right tools, the right skills, and the right plan.
Yeah, I can imagine that now a lot of people who have been doing things for this, who just have been a musician doing some concerts now, are really helpless. They might not even have the ability or the mental flexibility to make a shift.
Yeah.
How, do you see people like that around you? Is it?
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty brutal. Yeah. I mean, I have friends in the US, but also in Italy that I keep in contact with, and yeah, I mean the live performance, it's pretty much stopped. The also I have friends and former graduates that write for film and TV. Also most of the production have stopped, so there's definitely, that's tough. I mean, and I would say that this has been probably the most dramatic change, right? And in terms of speed at which it happened, right? I mean, sometimes this was definitely an unexpected big wave that was impossible to predict. So this is a really a tough one. On the other hand, it could be a good moment to pause and again take advantage maybe of retooling, retweaking your career, and see where now the next wave is going to be. There's no doubt that things are not going to be exactly the same, because new techniques, you new opportunities are going to come out after this. Just as you mentioned, right? I mean, teaching, right? I mean, teaching probably is going to be definitely, there's going to be more online teaching, so that creates opportunities. Going back to the democratization of the system, right? Is like, well, I mean, if you're good at, you could have your own online curriculum, available to anybody, and you can charge, and you can, so that's a good thing. Of course, there are tons of people that probably going to try to do the same. So you have to put your own spin.
That's and that is where your community is an important thing. I see a lot of people trying to do crowdfunding and things like that, but it's really trying to get a sustainable model where you offer services not for free, because I saw all these amazing artists and I understand it's out of a reflex, I'm going to do something and I'm just going to play music and give it for free, and you stream for free, but it's there is a value that is important, that you also see that as a value proposition.
Yeah, that's always a tough balance, and I would say it's a tough balance always when things are normal, like when there's a normal business going on. Now it's even harder. I mean, again, all the parameters are a little bit
Upside down.
Up and down now. It's really hard. I think at the moment there's going to be first of all like a survival mode, right? Saying, okay, well, I let's keep moving for the next 6 months, while I retool, and then a new wave will start. But the balance between doing things for free versus being paid, it's a very tricky thing. It's a very tricky balance. I definitely say as a start, as a general point, don't do things for free. On the other hand, I think you need to see, and sometimes you do things for free because you love the project, and I think that's okay. The project maybe brings you good connections or good networking, you expand your network. So there are occasions where I think it's okay, you know, but you need to do that balance, and sometimes that's a tough call. So sometimes there are opportunities where that might come up from something you did for free. And of course, the balance is harder if you, like in a moment like this one, you know, if you really need to make your rent, or or put food on the table, and you know, that's really tough. But on the other hand, I mean, just to give a little more of a hopeful message, I think there are opportunities out there, and the good thing is that I think there are more opportunities, but they might be in a slightly different angle from which we are looking at things. And so again, if I'm a performer and I'm trying only to look for gigs that are, for example, you know, playing in an orchestra, this is going to be very hard. On the other hand, let's look at, you know, which other skills I bring to the table, right? Maybe I'm very good at explaining things, so, you know, teaching could be an option. Or I'm very good with technology. I'm very good at I'm very organized, and I can, you know, maybe provide my service to other musicians or other organizations that require that knowledge about music, but also organizational skills. So I think again, it comes back to entrepreneurship. You know, try to look where things are, and usually I see that when things are, when you really need something, then things happen. You know, so you have to be in that situation where, okay, hey, there's no other way here. I need to find something that fits my skill and my knowledge, and things will happen. Because again, as I said, now you have to look at the entire world as your neighborhood. It's not anymore as your around your block, about the city or your region or even your country. It's like, well, there are things all over the world, and maybe, you know, knowing different languages, that's a big help. Because again, you know, there might be people that want to learn singing in Italian, right, in China, you know. I mean, so there are people that want to learn things, they need services. It's just question of finding and match those you know.
And indeed, because the world is your oyster, you do have people who have the same taste, but it's finding those people who are in the same mindset. Now suddenly you can find them all over the world. I think the underground scene has done that a lot. I talk to people who are in drag or drag queens. They have now jobs via all across the world, just via Instagram. So it's also looking at who's in your niche and who connects with what you're doing, and trying to build up those communities. So the more teams, the more you can collaborate, the better. I'm also a strong believer of that.